walk me through the timeline and who's on the list and good luck trying to figure out this labyrinth of deadlines and when you could talk to somebody in person or when you can Zoom to somebody based on whether they're still in the playoffs or not. Walk me through, best of your knowledge, the timeline and who's on the list for Jerry Jones and the rest of the group to talk to here.
I think it's, without question, the most difficult of the head coaching openings to predict. And that's just because there isn't an obvious name. Again, when I talk about that loss to the Packers, there was many who thought they should have went in another direction after that loss. And all the top names that would have been out there, Jim Harbaugh, Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, Ben Johnson, they didn't have any significant interest in them then. So when this cycle was coming back through, it's not like the Cowboys just barely missed the playoffs. The writing was on the wall early in this season that was going in the wrong direction, that there was a good chance there'd be a new head coach. But there is no leader in the clubhouse at all. A lot of people point to Kellen Moore because obviously he's been in the building, former player, great relationship with Dak. He's called the plays. But I don't know how he would fit in his first time as a head coach, being that in the spotlight of the Dallas Cowboys. And so I don't think that's the slam dunk. Ben Johnson makes a ton of sense, but Ben Johnson is probably going to get paid at the top of the market. And as I say, the Cowboys, you see the valuations all the time, $10 billion, $10.1 billion, $10.2 billion. They don't spend on coaches like a team that's the most valuable franchise in sports. So that's why Ben Johnson doesn't make a lot of sense. But then also you can't close the door on some people that other teams wouldn't consider. And the number one on that list would be Jason Witten. He hasn't coached in the NFL. He hasn't coached in college, but he has a great relationship with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones thinks very highly of him. Jerry Jones has made comparisons between what Dan Campbell's done in Detroit to Jason Witten. Obviously, both were former tight ends that played for the Dallas Cowboys. I can certainly see Jason Witten being a good head coach in the NFL. I certainly think he could work well with Jerry Jones, but not having any coaching experience, that just doesn't make a lot of sense either. When Jerry's not really in a spot where he can have a young coach kind of just learn on the job. He needs someone that comes in and can win right away, especially with the investments he's made in Dak and CD and will make in Micah Parsons. So that's not an obvious choice either. So then that brings you to the Pete Carrolls, the Jon Grudens, and Ron Rivera's. And I don't know that any of those are a slam dunk pick either. And I'll just wrap up my thought on that by saying this. I don't think Jerry Jones even knows definitively right now who he wants to be their next head coach. And that's kind of scary.
What about Belichick?
Again, I go back to just them not wanting to spend the money. So when I see a $10 million buyout, that gives me pause. But then also the fact of, you could have had Bill last offseason. You could have talked to Bill throughout this season when things were going in the wrong direction and be like, hey, we're really interested in you. We want to talk to you, but we're going to give Mike the rest of the season to coach this season out. I mean, Bill has spoke very highly of Jerry and Stephen Jones. He knows them very well. There certainly could have been back channeling there, but from everything I've heard, that never happened. And that's why, Bill didn't have a lot of interest. And that's why he took the North Carolina job. So I think that one's unlikely as well.
Dude. Wow. So no idea, huh? Zero. There's no sense. And Dion, you think is just two guys who talk to one another. Somebody leaked it out and they're just cool with having it talked about. That's what you're saying.
Yes, and I think Jerry will keep playing that one up until he does identify who his next head coach is. And, kind of going to your earlier point of why things take so long with Jerry too, I think as he gets older, I think there's a lot more of him listening a lot more to people around him and taking in what they say, whether it be Stephen Jones, whether it be Will McClay, whether maybe former coaches and people in the league that he's known for a long time that he bounces ideas off of. And I think there could be a part where he's maybe not as decisive as he used to be. It's interesting that Netflix documentary is coming out. That's, the headline of it is that it's called The Gambler, Jerry Jones. And Jerry Jones hasn't been a gambler for a while in the NFL, well over a decade since he's done real big gambles. And so that's why I kind of lean towards a more conservative approach. And that's why you can't shut the door on like a Pete Carroll or someone, or like even a Mike Tomlin if he was to become available. I just think Jerry's going to really try and target someone that has previous NFL head coaching experience.
Did you watch Landman, John? You watch it?
I haven't, but I saw Jerry's scene, and I can tell you I've been around Jerry Jones, and that doesn't even seem like that was acting. That is legit. That seemed like Jerry Jones, how he talks about family and that. But, yeah, I haven't got a chance to start it yet.
But you saw the scene. Do you know any of the backstory, how he got involved? Is Taylor Sheridan the next head coach of the Cowboys? I mean, what do we have for me, John, on that one?
Well,
anything?
If you have anything to do with the oil and drilling business. Jerry Jones is obviously someone that's good to consult with, and I know that he has relationships, with people involved with that. And Jerry loves the whole TV side of it. And so because of that, it doesn't surprise me that he's involved in that, and that him and Taylor Sheridan talk. There was a schedule release a few years ago for the Cowboys. I believe Taylor Sheridan was involved. So they definitely have a good relationship. He's been to Cowboys games before. And so I think it's just a natural fit. And certainly with that topic, it makes complete sense. And even with the topic that Jerry's talking about in that scene right there, I can see it being one of those things where he's talked about it with Taylor Sheridan, with other people with the show, and they were like, man, that's great. We should try and work that in to an episode, because just the way Jerry was talking about his family and the way he was tearing up like that, I've been around him several times when he's had very similar conversations. So I could understand how they could be like, we're just going to let the camera roll, just have a natural conversation, and we'll use the best stuff, and ended up using all of it.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.